In today's Leeds news, dressing room camera block Elland Road update, growing interest in Joseph, Patrick Bamford exit latest, and today's rumour mill stories on James Justin. Morning folks, welcome back to The View for Wednesday morning, the 30th of July with your Leeds United news. Hope you've had a good week so far. There's not a huge amount of stuff to get stuck into. It has gone very quiet around transfer talk connected to Leeds United. We know what that usually means. 49ers are usually really at their busiest when it's gone really quiet. We've got to see what the fallout from the Igor Paixão situation is and what their next move is. We covered some stuff last night on the podcast. Myself and Paul looked at the players that were linked yesterday in the rumour mill stuff and basically why they're not really targets for Leeds United and why it doesn't make sense for Leeds to move for those kind of players considering the type of player they were moving for and the situation surrounding Igor Paixão. So if you want to check that out, you can. We've got a little bit of stuff to get stuck in today. We'll start off with innovations in the TV coverage of Leeds Premier League campaign next season from the Premier League and some blocks that the teams can put in place. Premier League clubs have agreed to a number of TV innovations as part of the new domestic TV rights deal with TNT Sports and Sky Sports. Innovations in inverted commas. One of those innovations is dressing room cameras, where broadcasters can now show live footage from inside the dressing rooms at different periods during the game. On top of this, clubs have also agreed to interval interviews with managers and players on the touchline while the game is stopped during mid-game intervals. Teams must permit broadcasters at least one of these enhancements on a minimum of 2 occasions throughout the season. Now, clubs do have the right to refuse access should the club be losing a match at that scheduled time, but they must then accommodate this option further down the line in the season. Broadcasters and teams are said that they will work together to make sure that the content remains positive and non-controversial, but dressing room footage can take place either between the conclusion of the warm-ups, just before the bell before kickoff, during half-time breaks, or straight after full-time, and clubs have final say on whether any audio is recorded. Clubs can block access to dressing room cameras if they are losing a match, but again, as it says in the initial part of this, they have to accommodate then it somewhere else during the season. But audio does not have to be recorded in these situations. I'm not sure anyone really needs these innovations, or if you call them innovations. I don't need to see inside a dressing room. Most of the half-time break and before the game is built up with ad breaks anyway, so you're just removing more punditry time and filling it with this kind of stuff. I don't think anyone needs this. I know if I was a manager, I wouldn't want a camera in my dressing room at any point during a game, especially not audio. So yeah, innovations are just annoyances, I would say, at this stage. I'm not sure anybody, let me know in the comments if you think these are anyway worth looking at. I could be wrong, I could be in the minority here, but I'm not sure anybody needs to see this stuff during a pre or halftime match. And again, interviewing players and managers on the touchline during the game just seems like getting in the way. Any chance we can get back to football, lads? Let's move on. Let's talk about the Elland Road update, and some more news has come out around this today. Leeds have submitted their formal plans for the redevelopment of Elland Road, and we have some new details on the planned changes to bring the Elland Road capacity up to 53,000 seats. Leeds have said that due to the planned format of the construction, they will ensure that there is no loss of seating during the construction with minimal disruption for fans. In the planning applications, Leeds hierarchy have confirmed that they are looking to sustainably compete in the Premier League and in other European competitions, as well as enhancing the stadium to host national and international football, as well as concerts and non-footballing events. The 49ers said before that they wanted to increase the capacity and the revenue on match days to £4 million, but making Elland Road a 7-day-a-week venue would give Leeds significantly more revenue that they could then use throughout a year. Up to 8 non-football events can be used in Elland Road per season, and Leeds chairman Prag Marathe has had the following to say on the stadium refresh. The opportunity to refresh a century-old stadium coupled with the legacy of Leeds United is unprecedented. Our plans reinforce our commitment to the long-term success of the club, and I'm excited that we are going to be able to welcome thousands more supporters to every game in the stadium that retains that unique atmosphere of Elland Road. We look forward to sharing our plans with supporters and the local community for their input. The local community approval at the moment is said to be in around 90% of those that have got involved in that, and Leeds are expecting a decision on their plans by mid-October, and at that point, once the green light has been given, the West End construction will begin in May 2026, so the end of this season. and will be completed by the end of 2028. The North Stand has an opening date planned for 2030. So between now and 2030, we should see a brand new, refreshed looking Elland Road. So 5 years, 4.5 years ish. First stand will be done by the end of 2028, so 2 seasons from now. And we'll see how we get on. This is exciting stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Elland Road could look like. And given the tickets issue yesterday for the Everton game, Leeds could do with getting far more seats in the stadium. So yeah, we'll keep you up to date on any changes and updates we get on the stadium throughout the year. Let's move on. Let's talk about growing interest in Matteo Joseph. And yesterday, there was news that Girona had joined the race with Real Betis to try and sign Matteo Joseph. Now, according to reports from Spain, Getafe in Spain have also joined the race to sign the Spanish under-21 striker. The report states that Getafe have submitted some form of an offer that appears to be of a similar level to Real Betis' last offer, and similar to Betis and Girona, Getafe are said to not be willing to pay Leeds' asking price of £12 million. Spanish outlet Le Esportivo claimed that Getafe have inquired about the availability of Matteo Joseph and are keen to bring the striker in on a loan with an option to buy. Leeds, as we know, are unwilling to allow the player to move with any kind of an option. They are looking for a pure loan or a sale that meets their valuation of the player. Joseph has 3 years left to run on his current Leeds United deal, and Leeds don't need to consider PSR sales or issues around PSR until June 2026. So Leeds have time on this, and given how the 49ers handled the Willy Gnonto situation when Everton were interested in them, Leeds could very easily sit on this one and wait this one out and see if the player then decides to change his mind, or the interested parties stump up the cash to get a deal done. I think it's very obvious with the options and the willingness to have an option rather than an obligation or a straight up loan. These teams are hoping Leeds United can get relegated, and then they can reduce the option payment and try and get the striker on a bargain deal next summer. So interesting to see. Personally, I've made this clear. I think Leeds should sit this one out and get what they want for the player and don't be in any rush to sell at this point. And if they can get a straight up loan, great. Straight up loan. Championship, anywhere would do at this stage. The player can't dictate where he goes. He can agree terms, but he can't really dictate where he goes. He wants to go to Spain. Leeds have a strong opinion on that as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about Patrick Bamford latest. And over the last few days, Patrick Bamford has been linked with multiple clubs as his Leeds exit nears. Bamford was joined recently by Johnny Howson at last weekend when both of them took part in an under-21 friendly, and Bamford will continue to stay with the under-21s until he secures a move away from the club. Wrexham have been consistently linked with a move for the number 9, although his wages are said to be some sort of a problem, and Bamford may need to consider reducing his demands on wages to get a move away from the club. Newly promoted Burnley have also been linked with a move for Patrick Bamford. Their summer hasn't gone to plans at all. James Trafford has left, CJ Eakin-Riley has left, Josh Brownhill has just announced that he won't be staying at the club either, and he is leaving the club on a free transfer. So maybe Bamford is a player that could help them next season. But according to some reports coming out of the States, there are several unnamed MLS clubs considering a move for Patrick Bamford. Bamford has got 60 goals and 25 assists in 205 appearances for Leeds United, and that could be the kind of numbers that appeals to the MLS sides. No clubs have been named at this point, but there is said to be growing interest. But at this point, Wrexham are by far the most commented side when it comes to links to Patrick Bamford, and we'll see if they take that any further and look to add a striker for the Championship. Bamford's fitness seems to be fine so far. He's come back in really good shape. He's gotten through all the pre-season so far and the 21 games without any issues, so maybe he is starting to prove his fitness is back to where it was, and that will help him to get a club the closer it gets towards deadline day. But as of right now, no formal bids have been put on the table. No official approaches have been made for Bamford. We'll see where this one goes over the next while. Let's move into the rumour mill territory today, and this one relates to James Justin. And Daniel Farke needs fullback cover this summer before he sanctions the exit of Isaac Schmidt to Werder Bremen on loan. Millwall's Japhet Tanganga has been linked with Leeds United, although over the last couple of weeks any links or rumours around Tanganga have quietened, and a new name has been mentioned, and that is Leicester City fullback James Justin. Justin is said to have some serious interest from Leeds United, and whether he would be interested in coming to Leeds as cover or competition remains to be seen. But the 27-year-old was a key player for Leicester City last season, and Leicester need to lighten their wage load as they move down into the Championship, with PSR issues already affecting them after relegation. Justin is comfortable playing on the left or the right. He's a two-footed player, so he would offer Leeds some serious cover and very strong competition in both full-back areas should he decide to move to Leeds and should Leeds decide to make a move for him. He's also been capped by England and has 167 appearances for Leicester, the bulk of those coming in the Premier League as well. So he would add Premier League experience, he would add good cover on both sides, and I think you could argue he probably had very strong competition should there be a form issue with Bogle or Gudmundsson. James Justin could easily slot in there and take up. Now, I would like Jaffa Tanganga as well. I think Tanganga is probably a much cheaper option, offers you cover in the fullback areas and centre back. Justin might cost you a little bit more, but given Leicester's financial situation right now and PSR, Leeds might be able to get him for a little bit of a snip if they're lucky. No formal bids, nothing like that. Very much rumour mill territory at this point. We'll see if it fleshes out into anything major over the next couple of days and weeks. As I say, it's very, very quiet around the place right now, which means, to me, as far as I'm concerned, Leeds are very busy getting their next targets lined up and ready to go. And hopefully we get some news coming into the weekend around that. If anything major happens, we'll jump on with a live stream. You can check out last night's podcast with Paul if you want to. I'm back on Saturday morning with the live stream for the news wrap, and we'll see what happens by then. Outside of that, back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.